Greetings, YouTube. I've decided I'm going to do a video about the weapons, armor, and military reference library I have. I'm going to try to get this into one video if I can. We're going to see how successful I can be. So first up we have sword, daggers, and cutlasses from Gerald Wieland. Swords by Ben Booz, a book that I have reviewed here on my channel. The Book of the Samurai, the Warrior Class of Japan by Stephen R. Turnbull. Medieval Swordsmanship, Illustrated Methods and Techniques by John Clements. Weapons Through the Ages by William Reed. This is quite good. I think this is one of the ones I would recommend as a core book in anyone's collection. Arms and Armor, a pictorial archive from 19th century sources, selected and arranged by Carol Belanger Grafton. This is related to Arms and Armor. Design your own coat of arms, an introduction to heraldry. Quite useful. Particularly for gamers. It's got enough information, to get you started. Armor, From Ancient to Modern Times by, Peter Klusina and Pavel Pevny. The World Atlas of Warfare, Military Innovations That Changed the Course of History by Richard Holmes. Art and Design in Modern Custom Fixed Blades Knives by David Darome. I picked this one up at a yard sale for about $3. It was quite a find. Swords and Hilted Weapons. And it has a long list of contributing individuals to this particular one. I think this may be this. No, it's not a Barnes & Noble. I thought it was. I think I picked it up at Barnes & Noble. But it isn't one of their publications. The Complete Encyclopedia of Arms and Armor, the most comprehensive reference work ever published on arms and armor from the prehistoric times to the present, with over 1,250 illustrations. This is also an excellent reference. It is by Leonid Taroscu and Claude Blair. This would also make a good addition to any person's reference library if they didn't want to have a huge one. The Armourer and His Class from the 11th to the 16th century. A book on the Kama by Toshiro Obata. Sorry. Picked that up at a yard sale. The Secret History of the Sword, Adventures in Ancient Martial Arts by J. Christoph Amberger. Sorry. Apologize for that one. The Illustrated History of Weaponry, from Flint Axes to Automatic Weapons. This is also a good general overview of weapons. I recommend that one. Knives and Knife Makers by Sid Latham. Arms and Armor of the Crusading Era from 1050 to 1350 by David Nicole, Western Europe and the Crusader States. This is kind of a scholarly text. It wasn't cheap. Firearms, A Global History to 1700 by Kenneth Chase. Bows of the World by David Cray, an excellent reference if you are a fan of traditional bows. The Story of the Gun by Ian Hogue. This is part of the A&E television series. Hogue's a bit of a blowhard, but darn good, darn knowledgeable man. European Arms and Armour by Charles Henry Ashdown. This is called this is a Vanishing Peoples of the Earth. It's from the National Geographic Society. It had, also I picked up this one, which is very similar. More Primitive Worlds by National Geographic Society. It has some good illustrations, though it is not specifically focused on arms and armor. It was still quite good. The Nuclear Reader, Strategy Weapons, War, 2nd edition by, what was it, Charles Kegel Jr. Of Arms and Men. History of War, Weapons, and Aggression by Robert L. O'Connell. The Art of Deception in Warfare by Colonel Michael Dewar. I've reviewed this one on my channel. From Crossbows to H-Bomb, The Evolution of the Weapons and Tactics of Warfare by Bernard and Fawn M. Brody. Hunting weapons from the Middle Ages to the 12th century. This is very good if you have an interest in hunting weapons. It has, was it 288 illustrations by Howard L. Blackmore. If you are into hunting weapons and the traditional hunting weapons of the past, that's a great book. Richard Burton's The Book of the Sword. This is a classic. The Book of the Five Rings. What reference library would be complete without it? This one's kind of small. The World's Worst Weapons, from exploding guns to malfunctioning missiles. The World's Worst Military Disasters. Picked those up cheap at a bookstore that was closing. Gentleman's Blood, a history of dueling. From Swords at Dawn to Pistols at Dusk by Barbara Holland. This was quite good if you have an interest in the art of dueling. Egyptian Warfare and Weapons by Ian Shaw. History and Guide to Old Fort Niagara. I have a penchant for forts. This one right here looks a little boring. You can open it up so you can actually see it a little more easily. It said the Times of Edward the Black Prince, replicas of the achievements, Knight of the Garter, past and present. It got some black and white illustrations in here. I picked this up cheap at a sale for the specifically colored pictures inside and the picture of the tomb. I picked it up for a song, so I'm like, yay! The Stone Age Hunters by Graham Clark. I believe I might have reviewed this one here on my channel. It was very good, if you have an interest in Neolithic hunting. Introduction to Chinese Weapons by Dr. Yang Juingming. I believe I said that right. I have no idea. With Arrow, Sword, and Spear, A History of Warfare in the Ancient World by Alfred S. Bradford. This is just a official guide to collecting knives. I picked it up at a library sale many years ago. Mostly for the illustrations. A lot of the information is otherwise out of date. Daggers and Fighting Knives of the Western World by Harold L. Peterson. A book on marksmanship put out by the NRA. Picked that up cheap somewhere. 20th Century Small Arms. Almost 300 of the world's greatest small arms. I don't know why they wrote it like that, but that's how they wrote it. Warriors of the Steppe, A Military History of Central Asia from 500 BC to 1700 AD by Eric Hildinger. Very good. The Spartans, The World of the Warrior Heroes of Ancient Greece. But remember, the Spartans were the only Greek culture that kept Greeks as slaves. The U.S. Army GHQ Maneuvers of 1941 by Christopher Gable. No Second Place Winner by Bill Jordan, which is about actually knowing how to use a pistol effectively as a law enforcement officer. The Gun, A Visual History. I think I picked that up at Barnes & Noble on a sale rack. A general reference book to martial arts. The Practical Handbook of Martial Arts. Got that at a yard sale. The British Bulldog, which is all about the forgotten gun that really won the West, which is all about a particular brand of firearm or revolver. And